have to,
March HRC meeting.
so I passed out to you, and I didn't send it to you earlier because I did not want anyone to be confused that this was the agenda for today, frankly. That could easily happen.
So you're talking about the proposed.
Proposed community outreach meeting, and I passed out some extras, I think, for hoping that ended up down the table.
Okay.
Dan, you got one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna set it down. So what this is, we are proposing to take our meeting out into the community in March, and we would like to go and meet out in East Portland. We want to meet the David Douglas School District, and for community outreach meetings, what I've done on the front side of this page is just give some verbiage about what we'd like our goals and objectives to be when we are out in the community. As we talked about tonight, we're not going out to hold a regular business meeting. We're not going to be voting, talking about process. And what I wanted to talk about in East Portland is winnow down our topic to talk about housing and talk about housing choice and how that drives access to opportunity. And one of the reasons that we wanted to end up in the David Douglas School District is because its constituents are reflective of folks that have been experiencing displacement here in Portland. So I gathered a bunch of statistics. I didn't put them out to bring them with me, but the makeup of the David Douglas School District over the last 10 years has seen a market change. It really represents an inflow of folks that have been displaced from communities like North and Northeast Portland, influx of folks who are foreign-born and immigrants there. Free and subsidized lunch program. 82% of the students in the school district are free or, there's no word for us, reduced cost lunch program. The demographics is about 55% white, down from about 70% 10 years ago. So it's reflective of what we're seeing in displacement from the inner core of the city to the outer parts of our community, not just East Portland, but to Vancouver, Hillsborough, Beaverton, and such. And if you follow the series of the Oregonian, you also know that one of the issues in East Portland is the lack of things like parks, things like grocery stores. We're hearing from folks who provide social services that they have been caught behind the curve in being able to provide services in East Portland because of that displacement. And so now folks are separated from the places that services are available geographically because of their ability to have choice around housing. So we saw last year when the Housing Price Task Force was dealing with the Section 8 vouchers, that one of the places that has seen a major increase in Section 8 voucher holders is East Portland. If you work with the Fair Housing Council of Oregon, they are seeing an increased level of housing discrimination complaints in East Portland. So we know on the ground that it's a place where housing choice and opportunity are being disproportionately displayed. So what we'd like to do is go out there, have a meeting that allows us to, as a commission and the group gathered there, to get a sense of the history, geography, and demographics out in East Portland. We want to learn about the dynamics around housing displacement, again, just like I discussed about in East Portland. And then we're going to hear some discussion about increasing participation in city decision-making processes. And if there's time and the need, Kyle will give us some awareness about the foreign-born human trafficking and the outreach that they've done in East Portland. And then the biggest portion of the meeting is going to be for us just to have an opportunity for community members that are there to share their experiences with us and other folks that are attending. So as far as the way we want to get people to the meeting, we're going to hopefully after we approve the topic and generally concept for the meeting, we want to create a flyer that we can, for the event itself, and get that out to some key folks to invite people to come to the meeting and have that conversation with us. So on the back of this is the agenda that I proposed for that meeting. Thanks to the executive committee and for Myra helping work on this. It's whittled down much more than from where I started. I'm still actually interested in pushing one more piece into it. But we would have our regular type of welcoming gathering, but then also that first piece where we want to get some folks there that can give us that introduction to demographics out in East Portland. I've spoken with Laura Leonard, who is one of the advocates for the East Portland Action Plan, and she suggested that she's got some community members that could come and give us that information, not her necessarily. And I know that David Douglas is active in equity work, so we can try to contact them and see if, since we'll be in their facility, hopefully they might have somebody that can talk to us. And then we'll talk about the work that we're doing and that HRC, how we got into housing rights, and I'm going to ask Malloy to help us talk about that and the work that we're doing. And I can help foster that discussion. The other person that we've met with and talked with is Andrea Valderrama in Commissioner Novik's office. So she is a policy advisor who specializes in East Portland. So she, we met with her and said, she said that she likely could come to the meeting. I'll confirm that. And she's willing to talk about how folks out there might be able to increase their opportunities and participation in decision-making processes, for instance, the budget process is one. And I think we can also give some folks information about city commission opportunities that might exist. Definitely, you might know we've had some conversations potentially with Commissioner Fritz's office, for instance, about those opportunities.
Alan, I just want to make sure, did you have your hand up?
Mhm.
Okay.
I see it. You may have Cheyenne Hardesty as well to talk maybe about the Safe and Sound event at Rosewood, potentially. Is that my understanding?
That's actually on the outreach plan,
Okay.
because one of the things that, Amy and Sonji and some folks attended the event out there at Rosewood, and one of the things we said is that we were willing to.
Yeah, I was there too.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make that potentially as a follow-up for us, having told them that we would be back out to East County.
Okay.
But not necessarily inviting Joanne to speak.
Okay. Well, my question had more to do with, is there space, or could we consider reaching out to someone from East Precinct as well around any criminal justice issues, and letting them know that we have this other community as well?
Yeah, I think so. I frankly, when I first started talking about this meeting, I actually wanted to talk about housing and law enforcement. But in talking with folks, I think that the more we can focus the meeting, the better chances we'll have for participation and depth of knowledge rather than breadth. But so the other part of this agenda, there's an hour-long part for folks to have conversations with us. And I think if there are folks there that want to have that conversation, Damon, I think we would certainly entertain it. Because it's all part of what's happened in East Portland. It's driven by housing, but the result that we see on the ground there certainly is related to law enforcement and some of those other issues.
So you're saying during the time allotted for conversation
Yeah,
with community,
exactly.
that's when that type of conversation would be
Right.
raised? And a person from East Precinct?
Can we at least invite some? Because
So put them on the outreach plan?
yeah.
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 I also would like to suggest human solutions for the outreach plan.
And so East Portland Action Plan has a housing subcommittee. It's actually chaired by Jean Williams.
Oh,
So there's a chance that she's not. But I'm not sure of all the issues they work on.
I think we all have.
Yeah, y'all.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if I could possibly, maybe help you guys out with number 2, about housing choice.
Yeah.
My little brother wants to run Russell.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, but, he goes to Ron Russell, and it's an issue that's really close to my heart, actually, because, my mom lives right off Powell. And we moved from North Portland, off of Vancouver, Jonesboro. And so, just knowing like, this is really, just want to say thank you. And she doesn't necessarily even want to live there. It's just the only thing that her Section 8 will allow her to get, and it's literally right off Powell, so it's pretty dangerous.
So are you willing to open that section for us? Okay, okay. So can we have y'all bring that forward as the first part of the administrative process? You want to do that? Yeah. You're on. Okay. And then we can have a second conversation too about other things that might work. But yeah, let's plan to have you on that. Just keep your name right to that section. Galen?
Thanks for putting this together, by the way. This is a lot of work. Do Do you think there's enough time in there, well, two things. Do you think there's enough time in there for conversation with the community? And do you think it falls early enough in the, it seems kind of top-heavy, talking at people?
So I appreciate that comment, because I actually toyed with it. I don't like the housing choice and the public participation piece. I kind of feel like we should have the community conversation right with the housing choice piece. So maybe not even segregating them. Yeah, okay, that would maybe make it.
And it would take some, facilitation savvy, but
Yeah, okay.
as long as people have an agenda in front of them, they know that they would get a chance to speak and that there would be some.
Is it, okay, so maybe I'll rework it just a little bit so that we have a conversation there, and then we do leave maybe just a general public comment period open, but use the main housing conversation as part of that top section, okay. So I have two separate conversation sections.
I mean, if everybody agrees with that,
Well, actually, I like it too, and I thought, but yeah, that sounded good. So instead of just having that sort of 15-minute presentation about housing choice, followed by another presentation about government involvement, have the whole housing choice be kind of an introduction and then a conversation.
Okay.
And then have the other presentation maybe come later, and then have another conversation period at the end for all other comments.
So presentation, conversation, and then comments. I don't think that's good.
With my thought.
Because comments sometimes can take a long time, and then you shorten the other presentation, so that, it would be, like it might feel like, oh, you're having a really lively, important discussion, then out of time, we have another presentation that suits the topic, like it.
Well, that's why I said it would take some facilitation savvy, but, and managing expectations with the agenda. But it seemed to me, and I'm not, adamant about, but it seemed that it was really top-heavy us, or the commission talking at people, and then opening it up at the end for conversation. And so I was trying to figure out.
I just feel like it's gonna be hard once we start the conversation to put the brakes on it and shift to something else.
Then maybe shortening it, I don't know.
That's actually what I was thinking, was significantly shortening. So less making them presentations than introductions to topics, so that folks are, it's not
Just kind of,
everything in the world is just, here's who I am, here's an opportunity that I think I present. If you want to talk about it some more, let's do that. That's the presentation.
Or maybe it's a panel that people know who the folks there are, what their specialty is or what their.
So having those brief intros,
Yeah, just brief
but
intros,
allotting
but-
more time for the community to have discussion is what I hear you saying.
yeah.
Does everyone feel comfortable with that? And,
It's not to discount all
Right.
the hard work that you put into this.
No.
Oh, no, they don't even get me started, because I want to bring the coalition local teacher there, and they agreed that they would help us there. Not for next week, but it's fine.
Have you talked to Polo at all? Because he's outreach that he's doing, or has been doing in his county, and just, there might be something informed.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we have to add him to the list at least, and see what else he could bring. Yeah, his focus is a little bit different, but certainly there's room for.
Some of the
for
same
everybody.
community, definitely the same communities, but
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, there's a lot of community out there, Yeah, the Sonic community is large, and so, we have all our meetings out there if you want. Culture drive.
so for the sake of time, just reminding us at 21, we're going to try to get through all these issues. Any other questions for Alan? Thank you, Alan, for your time, and I know you really worked hard to get this to us today.